Hello. Well, here we are then. It's nice to be out, isn't it? You'd only be sat around at home now, wouldn't you? You'd only be sat there going, what's on telly? Nothing. Must be something on. There's a fly on the wall documentary. What's it about? I don't know, a fly on the wall. Well, go and get us the video then. What do you want? Nothing violent. Nothing with Meryl Streep. Nothing where Goldie Hawn stands round in her pants. Or you could be in a restaurant now, couldn't you? You could be sat there going, Ken, I can't eat this steak. Everything all right for you, madam? Yes, it's lovely, thank you. Now, I want everybody to sit back and relax. Have you locked the back door? Probably makes no difference. They'll only take a sledgehammer to the toilet window, won't they? Babysitter all right? Must be on the phone now. They've gone! Come round, Garth. I've got a bottle of sherry and 2 condoms. Now, I want everybody to sit back, relax, be happy. I'm in a very happy mood tonight. Had a good journey here today. I've hired this big new car, a Vauxhall Placenta, I think it's called. We stopped at the motorway for some petrol and I got in a bit of a muddle and I paid for my petrol with my kidney donor card. I think that means when I die, medical science gets 2 lager glasses and an alarm clock. And we had a meal on the motorway services. We went to the Little Chef. Well, it was that or Julie's Pantry. And we didn't really like the look of the waitresses in Julie's Pantry. They had very jaunty dungarees on and premenstrual tension. They were all wearing big badges that said, piss off, I'm having a tea break. It's a terrible thing, you know, premenstrual tension, because when women all work together, they all start to coincide, and they all get it all at the same time. Do you remember that office block in the City of London last year where all the windows blew out? That wasn't an explosion, that was 20 women in an office with premenstrual tension. The day the chocolate machine broke down. Now, I want everybody to sit back, relax, be happy, have a wonderful night, enjoy the show, forget everything. What a bloody miserable world it is, isn't it? Full of pain and agony, nothing but death looming up at the end of it. We don't know whether Ken's ever going to get back together with Deirdre. No, it's miserable, isn't it? When you wake up in the morning, you put the radio on and the news is on and 85% of the world's population is killing each other and the rest is starving and Madonna's just recorded a new album with Rolf Harris. And you feel miserable, don't you? I feel really miserable. I think, well, how can I cheer myself up? I think, well, if I wrote to a woman's magazine, they'd probably say, find an interest, get a hobby, wouldn't they? But this is like, 7:45 in the morning when I'm thinking this. I can't really see myself banging on somebody's door saying, come out, Mrs. Hopkinson, I need to learn Scottish country dancing and I need to learn it now. And anyway, I'm not a very good hobby sort of person because I'm not very good in a group, you know. If I was ever at an orgy, it's not very likely, but if I ever was, and I found myself in a sea of heaving bodies, I would have to seek out the one man who was impotent, just check, and discuss window boxes with him. Now, actually, I did do evening classes once. I did keep fit in a place where they did evening classes, and on our corridor, they did Esperanto, marriage guidance, winemaking, and pottery. Well, they had the worst Christmas party I've ever been to. The Esperanto people couldn't talk to anybody else. The marriage guidance people couldn't talk to each other. The homemade wine released everybody's inhibitions, and they all weed into the homemade ashtray. Now, I've got a much better way of cheering myself up. Do you know what to do? I count my blessings. I say to myself, thank God I am not a member of the royal family. I say, whatever happens to me, at least I'm not the Queen. However bad things get, at least I don't wake up in the morning next to Prince Philip. Mind you, neither does the Queen. I think it must be a terrible job being the Queen. I mean, she says it's just a job, doesn't she? She says being the Queen is just a job. It's not my idea of a job. I mean, in a job, you have a laugh, don't you? You have friends. I mean, I know she has ladies in waiting, but it's not really the same thing. I suppose they all sit in the back of the Bentley with a copy of the Daily Mirror going, right, Liz, what are you, tourist? The thing is, you feel like you know them, don't you? Because you read so much about them. Like when Prince Charles moved out to live with the Queen Mother, my newspaper put, Charlie moves in with Gran. It made it sound quite cosy, you know. I imagine the Queen Mother going, well, I've taken my knitting machine out at back bedroom. Put a Farrah Fawcett Major poster over damp. I sometimes think to myself, do you think Farrah Fawcett Major might be John Major's first wife? No, not very likely, is it, poor old John? He's a bit on the boring side, isn't he? He looks like he only has sex on bonfire night. Apparently he wants to resign, but Norma won't let him. Well, she looks very intimidating to me, Norma, doesn't she? She looks very organised, the sort of woman who has a separate J-cloth for each bath tap. And if he did resign, sign, who would we get? Well, not Norman Lamont, anyway. He was never going to get on, was he, with a face like that? He always looked like he should be on a lead with a tartan bow in his hair. I mean, they are a very dingy-looking lot on the whole, aren't they, male MPs? I mean, you see them on the television, you think, well, never mind the balance of trade figures. A bit of head and shoulders wouldn't come under. Now, I prefer the women. Now, my MP, now this will give you an idea of the sort of place I'm living in at the moment. My MP is Glenda Jackson. Oh, yes. It's very posh where I live. Everybody's famous. Our lollipop lady is Kidder Takanawa. No, it's terribly posh. Even the people sleeping rough are on futons. And I don't fit in, you know. I feel very out of it, especially at the bottle bank when they all come roaring up in their Range Rovers with a big basket full of bottles and they go, smash! Merry and Shandon. Smash! Australian Chardonnay. Smash! Perrier water. And I'm down the end by the brown one, you know. Got one marmite and a panyan pickle. No, it's too posh for me. There's no poor people there at all. Well, they bring a few in on the bus, you know, just to cook and clean and look after the children. Because, you know, posh people, they never look after their own children. In fact, they don't give birth to their own children. They can help it. If they really want a baby, they go abroad and they buy one. You see them at the customs. Anything to declare? Yes, a bottle of Chanel No. 5 and twins. Or they adopt them, you know, like Mia Farrow. Is she mad, Mia Farrow? I think she must be mad, don't you? I mean, she's adopted so many. She adopts children like somebody picking letters on Countdown. I'll have a black one. And another black one. And a Korean one. And another black one. And a blind one. And another black one. She obviously prefers them black and disabled. I mean, I don't know who she's going to adopt next, but I would be panicking if I was Stevie Wonder. But the woman next door to me, she's really posh, and she's got a baby that she bought called Jaques. And she's always leaving him for months at a time to go to Acapulco, and she says things to the nanny like, no, nanny, I'm going to Acapulco, and Jaques is to have raw carrot puree and creative play. And the nanny goes, all right, you are, lady. And like, as soon as she's gone, you know, the baby's in the playpen with a bag of wine gums. She's upstairs trying on her evening dresses. And the woman comes back months later and wonders why the baby's teeth are all black and why her dresses have got all the zips bust and they all smell of slim, fast vanilla milkshake. Oh, there was a brilliant thing in Hello magazine. It was about 2 weeks ago. There was this huge group shot of all these very, very glamorous celebrity mommies with their celebrity babies. Nobody'd asked me to be in this. Possibly because I'm not very glamorous, or possibly because my baby looks like something out of the Beano. No, he does. He looks like he should have knits and a jam sandwich, really. Now, I love celebrity mommies because they say things like, of course I didn't get my figure back straight away. It did take about 20 minutes. Real mommies carry their stomachs up to bed over one arm. And when they're in the shower, little bits of Lego they've never even seen fall out of their navel. Celebrity mommies take their children for long walks on Caribbean beaches. Real mommies stand around on tarmac holding huge bags of nappies going, well, don't step in it again! Celebrity mommies don't buy their children toys. They give them the precious gifts of time and attention, walks in the woods, naming of wildflowers. Real mommies say things like, yes, I will buy you Barbie's dance studio and psychosexual therapy centre. Now, shut up, I'm trying to watch Danger Mouse. Celebrity mommies say having a baby's actually enhanced and improved their sex life. Real mommies think sex is like full employment. It's a nice idea, but it'll never happen again in their lifetime.
Shower, I'm all shampooed, I'm feeling in a funny mood. Don't blame it on the altitude, I'm feeling in the mood tonight. Comedy, my only goal, my food and drink, my heart and soul. I've had 2 jellies and a sausage roll, I'm feeling in the mood tonight. When I wish it isn't on a distant star, but Barbara Windsor's uplift bra. Am I wrong? Am I right? I'm feeling in the mood tonight. I feel so lyrical. Feel that life is such a miracle. I looked in the mirror, I look right satirical. I'm feeling in the mood tonight. Comedy is rough and raw, exposes pain you can't ignore. Ooh, Betty, it's the mother-in-law. I'm feeling in the mood tonight. I am strong, I am fervent. I'm supposed to be mercilessly observant. I'm on the edge, I'm looking for a fight. This wicked witch, my naughty show, tell Amnesty they need to know I'm feeling in the mood tonight. Comedians are tough and hard. We've all been hurt, we've all been scarred. We all do ads for Barclaycard. I'm feeling in the mood tonight. Before the show we gather round in every theatre, every town. Sooty, put that toothpaste down. I'm feeling in the mood tonight. Feel the fear our work evokes. Don't mess with us, we might tell jokes. Comedy is dangerous, alright. We're so brave at what we do. Bomb disposal's tricky too. I'm feeling in the mood. Lord, I pray this afternoon, make me funny and make it soon. 3 Hail Marys and a terrier and you. I'm feeling in the mood tonight.
I had a terrible night the other night, you know. I just couldn't get to sleep, and it was like really important that I had a good night's sleep because I had this really important due to go to the next day. So I'd done all the right things, you know. I'd gone to bed early, I'd had a nice big hot bath, and I'd put in all the things I got for Christmas, you know, a packet of envelopes and a pair of tights, and I'd done all those nice little dainty ladies' jobs. I'd shaved me legs, and I'd even had a go at the hard skin on my feet with that Dr. Scholl foot cream. And I think I was doing it wrong, you know, because after about 20 minutes my fingers were down to the tendons. And I still had feet like a stegosaurus. And I put clean sheets on the bed. Why is that such hard work? I think I'd rather go in for a piano smashing competition than change the bed. I mean, I feel quite fit when I start out, you know, and after about 2 pillowcases, I'm like somebody with emphysema. So I'm sitting up in bed, got a nice clean duvet cover on, got the duvet into most of the corners. A bit of a flap on that side, and I've had a nice big mug of some nice hot milky bedtime drink that's supposed to relax you. So I have that and I lie down, and I don't feel right. I think, oh, it's my neck. No, it's my pillows, because one of my pillows is all right, but one was a free gift from an insurance company. And I think it had to be quite thin to get through the letterbox. So I swapped them over, and I still don't feel right. I feel all tense, and then I'm annoyed that I'm tense, you know, because I've just had half a pint of this nice hot milky bedtime drink that's supposed to relax you. I think that's been tampered with. Well, no, do you remember those people that were going around putting broken glass in baby food? Which you had to stop because the babies were enjoying it. I think somebody like that has taken a job lot of nice, relaxing, milky bedtime drink and they've injected it with something that makes you tense. And like all around me, like in the catchment area of my supermarket, normally mild-mannered, relaxed women are sitting bolt upright in bed going, I can't live like this, Ken. The wardrobe's looking at me. I think, what else are they going to do, these people? Take tubs of low-calorie coleslaw and put calories in it? Do something to Milky Way so you can't eat them between meals without ruining your appetite? Well, then I'm wide awake then, so I think, well, I'll sit and I'll read. I've got a book by the side of the bed, and it's a new biography of Laurence Olivier, and it's very good, and I'm just reading along. And I suddenly get to this stunning revelation. I sit bolt upright in bed. It says in this book that for 20 years, Laurence Olivier had a secret affair with Danny Kaye. Well, I was quite taken aback by this, shouldn't I? I mean, I'm a woman of the world. I would have expected a bit of a fling with John Gielgud or a bit of a romance with Ralph Richardson, but Danny Kaye. It's a bit like finding out Mother Teresa has shacked up with Brian Poole and the Tremolos. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have an affair, you know, because somebody might want to write a book about me one day. There'd be nothing to put in it. I've never even had a proper job. I've only ever done this. Oh, no, I was a traffic warden once for about 10 days. It's a terrible job. The only laugh we had the whole time was watching a woman stand by while 2 men in balaclavas crowbarred open the door of her vintage Bentley and drove it away. And she was convinced it was Jeremy Beadle. Well, they were halfway to Dover by the time she stopped laughing and being a good sport. I think, well, who can I have an affair with? I think, well, on the Danny Kaye principle, it ought to be a woman, really. But it can't be anybody you already know. You know, it can't be a friend, because there'll be no romance, there'll be no glamour, there'll be no mystery. If I've already been shopping with them, and if I've stood in a cubicle with them going, it's not doing a lot for your bottom orders. I think, well, who can I have an affair with? Who do I quite like? Oprah Winfrey. Oh, no, actually, I've gone off her since she did that terrible interview with Michael Jackson. Did you see that? She didn't ask any of the questions I would have asked, like, are you balmy? If not, why are you going around like some peculiar reversed version of the black and white minstrel? I could have an affair with a supermodel, couldn't I? Now, they're rather glamorous. They're a bit tall, though, aren't they? Could be a bit awkward on a first date. You'd be going, how'd you take your tea? Naomi? Do you want a jammy dodger? It's a biscuit. Well, perhaps not. Perhaps I won't have an affair. Perhaps I'll perform some feat of endurance, like Michael Palin or Ranulph Fiennes. I could trek across Antarctica with nothing but a big anorak and a sled full of fruitcake. The trouble with that is you have to do it with somebody else, don't you, for safety, and they really might start getting on your nerves after 80 days of trekking across the frozen waste with nothing to look at but a husky's bottom. Well, you can imagine those long evenings in your little Baco foil sleeping bag, tucking into your powdered kipper. You'd be lying there thinking, they're going to start sniffing. I may have to take an ice pick to their sinuses. I think, all right then, forget it, no affair, no feat of endurance. I'll just settle for a very, very thin biography, Was born, lived, told a few jokes, knackered a few bras in the tumble dryer, died. I think, well, now come on, now really, I've got to get to sleep, This is a very important do the next day. How can I get to sleep? I think, oh, I know. A friend taught me a relaxation exercise, and she said it was really good. She said, what you do, you imagine that you're in a bath, right? And the bath is slowly filling up with warm water. And as the warm water laps up over your body, you become very relaxed and you drift off to sleep. I think, well, I'll do that. But for some reason, instead of imagining I'm in some gorgeous, great Edwardian cast-iron bath with the little claw feet, I've imagined I'm in one of these really narrow pink jobs. With a tide mark and a rubber plug, I don't know why I do this. I'm just not good at imagining things. I used to try and have sexual fantasies, and that was always hopeless. I used to try and imagine that big hunky men in ripped jeans were coming to the front door. But instead of them saying things like, I have a burning urge for you, they were always going, have you got a needle and thread? I've torn these. Anyway, so there I am in my little bath, and it's all right. It's a bit too short for me, so I've got my feet up between the taps and the Mr. Muscle. But, the water's coming in. I'm becoming quite relaxed. The trouble is, like I say, it's a bit too short for me, so not all of me is covered by the water. Parts of me are sticking out. There's me, quite relaxed. I've got two of the tensest bosoms you've ever seen. There's me drifting off to sleep. They're sitting up chain smoking and snapping at me. I'm not going to get to sleep like this, am I? With them sitting there like two agoraphobics waiting for a driving test. And I start shouting at them then. I'm shouting at my own bosom saying, now come on. See, you have it easy with me. You could be Madonna's bosoms. You could be forced into something pointy and metallic on a nightly basis. The worst I've ever put these into is a minimal bounce exercise bra, which is quite a palaver. I'm trying to get two blancmanges into an envelope. No, they're very good bras for exercise, actually, because they make you completely flat-chested at the front. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it does. It sends them round the back. You're quite right. There's you doing your aerobics. The man behind you is having a wonderful time. Well, I have to face the fact this bath fantasy is not working for me. I'm going to have to stop it. And of course, being me, I can't just stop it, I actually have to get out of the bath, empty it, and clean it. I think, now, how can I get to sleep? I really got to get to sleep. I think this is not fair, There's me with this very important engagement the next day. I can't get to sleep. There must be people all over the country with nothing exciting to do the next day, having a wonderful night's sleep, really boring people. And I start to focus in on the most boring woman I can think of. The sort of woman who wears a skirt with an elasticated waist. And she's not fat, she just likes them. The sort of woman who, if she had a vibrator, it would be because she had a stiff neck. I think, well, what does she do of an evening, this boring woman? I think, well, she probably watches a bit of wildlife on the television, and she has a bit of supper, and she clears away, and she puts 2 peas and a bit of broccoli in a special stacking Tupperware. Marked 2 peas and a bit of broccoli. I think, well, what boring little thing does she do then before she goes to sleep? And it came to me in a blinding flash. She plans her Christmas shopping. I think, well, that's very boring. I'm going to do that. That'll send me off to sleep, because I've never done that. I've never planned it, There's always a big panic on Christmas Eve. I forget to get anything for anybody, and I just tell lies. I give them all a £5 note and say I was burgled. Or I get the wrong things for the wrong people, I end up giving Belgian chocolates to diabetics, and I get notes from them months later saying, sorry this is so late, I've been in a coma. So I think, right, I'm going to plan my Christmas shopping. So I get this huge piece of paper and a pen, and make a great long list of everybody I can think of, and make a little note of everything they might want or need, like our window cleaner, 2 new armpits. Because he does have a problem, our window cleaner. I'm always saying to him, just leave the top ones, just keep your arms down by your side. And then I make a little note of everything they might want, and I give them all a Christmas present rating, you know, of what they're actually worth on the Christmas present scale. Like at the very bottom, that would be like 2 bath cubes in a box. Because that's the worst thing you can give anybody for Christmas, isn't it? That's the Christmas present equivalent of going, sticking your finger up their nose. That's what I think of you, 2 bath cubes in a box. You sit on those before they've dissolved, you'll know about it. And then there's a sort of middle range of Christmas present giving which is covered by the gift basket. This idea that anything is acceptable if it is in a basket and covered in cling film. And you get one and you go, oh, thank you, a lot of wood shavings and a rolled up flannel. So I make this great long list and I get very excited then and I want to go out and do my Christmas shopping. Well, I can't because it's the middle of the night and I'm in bed. And I think, right, I'll do it mail order. I think I must have a mail order catalogue somewhere because we just get sent them, don't we, the whole time. So I hop out of bed, but I can only find 2 then. One is the Oxfam catalogue. I think I just can't bear to buy anything out of the Oxfam catalogue because it all looks so hideous. I mean, I know it's a terribly good cause and I know every bamboo wind chime you buy. I know the profit is whizzing straight to the bamboo wind chime carvers of northern Tibet, who are presumably popping out with the dosh to buy something with a nice pattern from Allied carpet. But my other catalogue looks much more promising. It's one of these handy gadgets catalogues. You know, it's full of things you never heard of, never knew existed, never seen in the shops, no intention of buying. And before you know where you are, you're ordering 2 collapsible camping bidets. And putting a big tick. Yes, I would like my initials put on them. It was a wonderful catalogue. It had a whole section on security, you know, window grills and barking dog doorbells to deter burglars. I don't think they would deter a burglar, a barking dog. If I was making a doorbell like that, I'd have it go something like, I just put the kettle on, Deirdre. I never realised how tiring it was being a Jehovah's Witness. And they had a whole load of personal alarms. You know, they had one for the elderly. It had a photograph in the catalogue of this elderly woman conked out on the garden path, and underneath it said, Mrs. Smith knows help is on the way. Well, who from? I mean, not the person who took the photograph, presumably. Bye. Well, it was a wonderful catalogue. I was very attracted to the dangly earrings with the concealed earpiece attached to the television. It said it was for boring dinner parties. It said, they're talking politics, you're catching up on EastEnders. I thought, well, people might notice that you weren't sort of actually answering anything they were saying. Oh, Arthur's having a nervous breakdown. He's running amok in the laundrette in Pauline's overall. Well, I ordered loads of things. I ordered a barbecue that fitted into a filing cabinet and a special lockable toilet roll holder that lets you choose how many pieces of paper your guests can tear off. I got something for everybody. I even got something for my hairdresser. I ordered a fold-away anorak with detachable rectal thermometer. Oh, she won't like it. They might stop her asking me where I'm going for my holidays. Well, then, of course, I was even more wide awake than I was before, and I thought, no, really, this is getting silly. I must get to sleep. This is very important to do the next day. I've got to get all dressed up, meet all these important people. How can I get to sleep? I think I'll put the radio on, because on Radio 2, particularly, in the middle of the night, there's always some very, very soothing programme, you know, especially for lonely people and insomniacs and lorry drivers and people on the night shift. So I tune the radio into Radio 2, and I lie down, switch off the light, and I hear this woman saying, hello. And you're back with me, Charlene Dawson, coasting right down the middle of that road till 4 o'clock in the a.m. So whether you're a trucker's mucker, or a plain old insomniac, just stick with me, Charlene Dawson. I'll be with you till 4 o'clock when I'll be handing you over to the very capable hands of my very good friend, Conrad Meredith. With his very popular blend of 2 hours of organ music, prayer, and plenty of that old anti-abortion chit-chat. So stick with me, Charlene Dawson. I'll be putting the wee into the wee small hours. Well, that's enough blarney from me, Charlene. Let's get straight on with the nitty, not forgetting that gritty. Let's plunge straight on in with toupee time. Yes, this is the part of the show dedicated to toupee wearers, toupee collectors, and toupee fans from as far away as the Netherlands. And I've a letter here from Ginger Parsons of Hathersage. He writes to say, I have a black crown topper. Side parting needs some attention. Would exchange for similar in dark chestnut. Or portable Olivetti typewriter. Mrs. Ivy Smith of Medway writes to say, my husband died recently. Oh, lots of regrets and oodles of sympathy from me, Charlene Dawson, on that one. No, death is quite an upheaval, and I should know. I've had 4 cats since 1978. One good thing, Mrs. Smith, I don't suppose you had to carry your husband through the house on a shovel and bury him in the back garden. She goes on to say, my husband died recently and left amongst many other valuable articles 8 toupees, dating from 1954. The old elasticated sort rather than the stick-on variety which later became popular. She says one in particular has interesting historical associations as it was blown off during the state opening of Parliament. 1958. Woohoo! Toupee requests now. Arthur Tomato of Skullduggery writes to say, excuse my wobbly handwriting, Charlene. I'm writing with my left hand to raise money for charity in aid of toupee concern. Arthur is very keen to track down that very popular make-up hairpiece, the Undetectable. He says, I do not mind which shade, Charlene, but styles preferred are the Clifford or the Pedro. On a more serious note, folks, many, many listeners have phoned in to me, Charlene Dawson, to let me know that that old chain toupee has reared itself up again. So if anybody does send you a toupee asking you to wear it for a week and pass it on, please don't. Just send it to me, Charlene Dawson. I will get rid of it for you. Honestly, I think if these people can't find something better to do with their time, then they should be executed. I know you say those days have long gone, but I think there was something nice about capital punishment. It meant never having to say you were sorry. Well, it's nearly time for the 4 o'clock news now, nearly time for Charlene to say bye-bye. We may hear a little bit more on that Saddam Hussein story we had at 3. Now, I don't know Saddam myself personally, though I do have friends who rented a holiday bungalow from him. And they found him very reasonable, with quite a fondness of the records of Jackie Trent and Tony Hatch, apparently. So no one's all bad, are they, folks? But I'm going to close the show in my usual way, with a little bit of music. Not Jackie Trent tonight. I'm going to close the show with one of my own ditties, because I do know from my postbag that Charlene's ditties are the biggest things in the show. And this little song paints a picture of Charlene's ideal world. It's called The Paradise Where Dreams Come True. I was chatting to some lady friends of mine the other day about how life was better years ago. There was ballroom dancing, discipline, and snow on Christmas Day. And hanging was quite common then, you know. We all grew quite nostalgic as we munched our gypsy creams. Our tea was left untasted in the cup. Suppose we ladies could be granted all our hopes and schemes. What paradise would then be conjured up? Our faces were at once alight with glee, as we thought how blissful such a world could be. A world of hope, a world of life boy soap, a world where everyone looks nice. We'll waltz along to our very favourite song, Julie Andrews singing Edelweiss. And when we rush to our new low-level flush, then the waters they will foam bright blue. In that far-off land, that paradise where dreams come true. But we could see it all so clearly. Country, coast and town, where every worker grateful sings and hums. There could be a bit of flogging, just to keep the unions down, and massive fines for all unmarried mums. We could round up all the moaners and the lefties, all that lot, and send them with the poets outward bound. Have alternative comedians castrated, well, why not? Because eunuchs are so nice to have around. And smiles about our faces gently curled, as we sketch the details of our perfect world. A world of whites, of 90 denier tights, of labs that smell of potpourri, where lawns are paved and underarms are shaved, and housewives get their husbands' tea. Oh, there'll be Draylon suites with stain-resistant seats from Todmorden to Timbuktu, in that far-off land, that paradise where dreams come true. So this is Charlene Dawson saying good night, God bless, take care, drive safely, and if you hear about any miscarriages of justice, keep stum. A world where shopping bags are carried and Cliff Richard's getting married, though I wouldn't care to say who to, in that far-off land, that paradise where dreams come true. So there I am, right? Middle of the night, wide awake, can't get to sleep. Very important due to go to the next day. I think, how can I get to sleep? I've got to get to sleep. I think what people do when they can't get to sleep, they count sheep. I'll do that. I've read about that in books. People count sheep. So I get my imagination organised. I can imagine my field that they're all going to run about in. I can imagine my little gate that they're all going to hop over. But I can't sort of get a good grip on a sheep suddenly. I cannot picture what a sheep's face looks like. You know, because I don't know any sheep, and I don't live near sheep. I don't eat sheep. I go past a kebab house occasionally, but that thing revolving in the window doesn't give you much idea of their personality. I think somewhere in the house there's some terrible old photograph of some old family outing from years ago. I think there's sheep in the background of that. So I hop out of bed and I put my slippers on. Why do women's bare legs look so awful the minute they put their slippers on? I mean, your legs can look quite attractive when they're in the bed, but the minute you swing them out over the sides and pop them into those slippers, you look like you waited for Andy Capp to come back from the booze. Mind you, in my case, the nightie doesn't help, you know. I wear these big sort of T-shirt, nightshirt sort of nighties, and they're not always terribly tasteful. I get quite a shock when I catch sight of myself in the mirror, you know. It's the combination of the little wrinkly old face here and the big mauve puppy with the hat on here. Well, a lot of my old nighties are breastfeeding nighties, which I got from a catalogue, and I didn't realise they'd unpacked them. They had all jokes written across the backs. Well, they're not even jokes, they're sort of slogans, you know. Mommy's going bobos. Mommy's going barking mad if we do it. But I mean, why do they put jokes on clothes, especially on underpants? If I ever come across that, my heart just sinks. I think, well, if his underpants tell jokes, what does his penis do? Plate spinning? Doing. So I'm staggering around in my nightie. And I don't look good. I look like a woman by Picasso, you know. I've got all the right bits, but they're not necessarily in the places you expect. And I find the box of photographs, and the first photograph that leaps off the top is my old school photograph, you know, from 1968. 800 girls, all with their skirts up to here. And a row of mistresses along the middle who all look like Les Dawson, don't they? I mean, the bosoms on them, I mean, they can't all have had their underwear snatched from a washing line the night before the photograph was taken. That's what it looks like. There's not a bra in sight. Some of their bosoms are so low, they're actually resting on the heads of the kindergarten. I think, well, this is much more fun than counting sheep. I'm going to take this photograph back to bed with me, and I'm going to see if I can remember all the names of all the girls in my class. That'll send me off to sleep. So I'm sitting up in bed, and I can remember quite a few, you know, because I remember the register. I remember them going, Alison Cartwright, here. Alison Carstone, here. And I get to this girl, and I cannot think what her name is, and it really starts to annoy me. She was the only posh girl in the school. No, she was the only girl in our class with a double-barrelled name. She was called something like Fenella Howe Smith or Fenella Howe Green, something like that. And I can't think what it was, because she was never at registration. She'd always gone out for a fag. And she had this friend that used to cover for her. She had this huge friend with big bunches with barbed wire around them. And whenever they got to her name, you know, Fenella Howe Smith or whatever it was, this other girl would go, she's gone to toilet. So I can't remember her name. I just remember this other one going, she's gone to toilet. I thought I could try and track her down, the rough one, you know, and say, what was your friend's name? But I don't know where she's got to. She said she would come to a bad end. She's probably John Major's press secretary by now. Where is John Major? He's gone to the toilet. So then I'm even more wide awake than I was before. I'm worried about this thing. I can't get to sleep. I'm pacing up and down the house. I think there's no point trying to get to sleep now. I'll just find something to do. So I find this magazine on the carpet, and it's not even a proper magazine. It's like a supplement. You know when you buy a woman's magazine, it's got like a little white bandage wrapped around it, and they slip this other thing in the back, and it's always called something like the Zest supplement or the New You supplement. And when you read it, it just tells you to drink 8 pints of water every day and rub salt on your elbows and everything like that. I think, well, just for once, I'm going to do everything it says in this magazine because I'm so desperate. Well, the first thing it says, it's called the New You. It says the first thing you have to do for the New You, it says go into your wardrobe and sort out all your clothes and everything you don't like, just get rid of it, right? So I go in the wardrobe and I don't like anything. I don't like one thing, so I put it all in big black bin liners, and I put it outside by the front door, ready to take to Oxfam. I think, well, why not, you know? We have to have the horrible bamboo wind chimes. They could have my little woods tracksuit with the scorch marks on the fuzzy bottom. Well, the next thing you have to do for the New You is pluck your eyebrows. Well, I haven't done that for years, and it's ever such good fun. And I'm still there going, pluck, 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 pluck. Can't stop. And I start off with 2 quite reasonable pieces of facial hair here. And I end up with just like 2 little pinky humps, you know. And I look very aggressive, you know, with no eyebrows. I look like somebody you wouldn't want to spill a drink on. I think, it's all right, don't panic, I've got loads of time, I can paint them on. The trouble is, I can't see where they're supposed to go. So it's all right, I'll experiment. So I paint one on really high up like this. And I paint one really low down like this. And then I look really balmy, you know. I look like somebody who has had a drink spilled on them and can't remember what to do about it. Well, the next thing you have to do for the new you have to find out which colours are really you. You know, are you a spring person? Should you be wearing blues and pinks? Are you an autumn person? Should you be wearing browns and greens? Well, what you have to do for that, you have to scrape all the hair back off your face and wrap something white around your head. Well, I can't find anything, because it's all in big black bin liners outside the front door. The only thing I can find in a house that's white is a big pair of white knickers. They're brand new. I never wore them. I bought them because I read this stupid thing in the paper that said that models always wear knickers that come up to here. Then they don't get a line across here. The trouble was, as soon as I put them on, I felt about 11 and a half. You know? I felt like I did when I was at school and nobody wanted to pick me for their side in the netball team. You have Victoria, we'll have Diane with Impetigo. Anyway, so I do it. I scrape all the hair back off my face and I put these knickers on my head. And what you're supposed to do then is like fling great pieces of cloth around yourself. Well, of course, I haven't got anything. It's all in big black bin liners outside the front door. The only thing I can lay my hands on is a picnic rug, which is quite nice, and a big brown raincoat. I don't know, it looked all right when I bought it, but somehow when I got it home, it looked like something Christopher Timothy would wear, you know, jamming his hand up something in a cowshed. Anyway, so I'm having quite a good time, you know, flinging these things around myself, still trying to remember this girl's name. And then suddenly, there's a ring at the doorbell. And I look out the window, and I realise three things. One, it's 9:15 in the morning. Two, there's a taxi driver on the front doorstep, ready to take me to this very important do, where I've got to be presented to a very important member of the royal family. And three, the bin men are driving away with the entire contents of my wardrobe in big black bin liners, which is how I came to be, sitting in a taxi like this, been up all night, eyebrow here, knickers on my head, wearing a picnic rug and a big brown raincoat, going, Fenella Housemith, Patrina, how brown? And I get to the do, and I'm in the line-up, ready to meet the Queen, and she's coming along, shaking everybody's hands, and I'm stood there, eyebrow here, knickers on my head, picnic rug, big brown raincoat, going, Fenella Brown Smith. And the woman next to me, the woman who's organised, she said to me, no, don't forget to curtsy. I said, I won't forget to curtsy. Fenella, Patrina. She said, and don't speak unless she speaks to you. I said, I won't speak unless she speaks to me. Fenella, but Fiona. She said, and don't say anything controversial. I said, what do you mean? She said, don't say anything controversial. I said, like what? She said, well, don't mention Fergie. I said, I won't mention Fergie. She said, and don't mention Camilla Parker Bowles. Went, ah! And the Queen's coming along like this, and I went, Camilla Parker Bowles! And the Queen said, I beg your pardon. She's gone to the toilet. Colleen, can you do my lady a shampoo, please? Sure, won't keep you a moment. I think what we'll do, we'll take it up and over and back round the sides. Very free and easy, but quite structured. So what we're saying to you previous was, my friend worked in hairdressing, and my cousin worked in hairdressing, and my mother, that's her Aunt Wall, in sponge rollers. She said to me, what are you planning on doing, our Madeline? And I said, modelling. And she said, modelling, Madeline? I said, yeah. She said, ooh, Madeline, you'd be very middling at modelling. I said, would I? She said, yes, if you go muddling with modelling, you'd be middling now, Madeline. I said, you meddling? She said, meddling, Madeline, me. Well, this was in the middle of a wedding, so she's spitting tuna vol-au-vents on me. Plus, her brow wire has poked up through her costume and is picking up the soundtrack of Going for Gold. Well, she's never nice to me, my mother. Well, no, tell an untruth. She was in a documentary on debt once, and she was pleasant to me then. She said, you are modelling, Madeline, over my dead body. Well, that was comical for a kick-off. You couldn't do nothing over a body her size. Except possibly volleyball. Well, I'd had half a Mackinson, so I was feeling quite Frank Bruno-ish. So I told her a few home truths. I said, Mother, nobody likes you. My father's having an affair with the dental receptionist. And you've just sat in some Black Forest gatto. No, Lena, can you do my lady a tea, please? Yeah, take the tea bag out this time. Yeah, put it back in the steriliser. So, then she did what she always does when she can't get her own way. She fell down frothing. Well, this was bang in the middle of Agadoo. So nobody cottoned on till 20 past. So, we're all gathered round a bed in hospital. She's kicking up merry behaviour because the catering's been privatised. She's only got croutons. And she's looking at me like that woman out of 101 Dalmatians. She said, I will not have this modelling, Madeline. I said, give me a for instance, why not? She said, oh, well, I knew a girl that went in for modelling. By the time she was 21, she was smoking mentholated cigarillos and getting engaged to goalkeepers. Well, there was a nasty silence then, right round the cubicle. You could hear the woman in the next door bed's Lucasade popping. I said, all right, scrap the modelling, forget it. Suppose I go redecorating timeshares in for Winger Roller. Well, that was even worse. She starts hyperventilating then. We have to waft her up the cleavage with an exchange and mark. Not that nothing good came out of it, because we spotted an advert for one of them chairs that goes up your staircase. And fair dues to me mother, at top speed with the radio on. It's very like Alton Towers. Carleen, are you doing this shampoo for my lady? Oh, yeah, all right. She's just doing somebody more important. Anyway, it was all sorted out over a family get-together. We went to that medieval banqueting hall outside Tesco's. We're getting half price because my dad's sister-in-law is a wench. Oh, no, she was a wench, but there was some trouble over a low-cut blouse and 2 tankers. Now she's on gravy. Anyway, it was all agreed en family that I should go back to hairdressing. My mother was up the moon. She drank a bottle of Matthias Rosé without even taking the lampshade off it. I beg your pardon? Yeah, look, it will take quite a long time to do your hair, yes? Well, because of the way it's been neglected. Well, there's the cut, the colour, the condition. I mean, really, it's what we in the world of hair would call quite diabolically cruddy. I mean, where was you previous to coming to us? I mean, who actually did this for you? Oh, did I? No, I like it. I'll go and pop the kettle on. Oh, I got so cross this afternoon, you know. I've got a television in my dressing room, and no toilet, just a television. And I was watching the television, and my least favourite advert came on. I can't remember the name of the thing now. It's a slimming thing. Oh, the Slim Fast plan. Have you seen this advert? It's a woman holding up a photograph of herself. And she's going, hello, my name is Patrina Madwoman. And this is me when I was 29 stone 8. Now, after only 3 weeks of drinking Slim Fast vanilla creosote, I'm 6 stone 2. One delicious, nutritious shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and by tea time I'm snatching chocolate buttons off small children. And I was thinking, oh, get lost, I can't be doing with this anymore. I think, well, I'm 40 now. I think 25 years is long enough to go around sucking your cheeks in every time you go past a shop window. Looking at your face in the back of a spoon so you haven't got a double chin. I can't do it. See, I just don't think it matters anymore. The trouble is, a lot of people still think it matters, you know, whether you're fat or not. Like, there's a whole hidden army of enormous teenage girls who just never go out because of their fat. And they have this terrible life, you know, sitting in night after night with their mums and dads watching the television, sitting there watching the gymnastics and criticising. Going, ooh, an asymmetrical bar, she's rubbish. And they don't have any fun. They have no fun, these girls. They don't go out with boys, they don't go out with their girlfriends. They spend all Saturdays going around shopping centres with their mums and dads buying potpourri and draw liners and little fluffy teddy bears with jumpers on that say, this bear wants a cuddle. And they spend all Saturday night in their bedroom surrounded by all these fluffy toys thinking they could have such a wonderful physical relationship if only they weren't fat. Well, that's not why. They don't have a wonderful physical relationship because it's very difficult to maintain an erection in the same bedroom as 17 gonks and a Little Mermaid. And I'll tell you, another sad thing about enormous teenage girls is that people are always making them be bridesmaids. Aren't they? So if you ever see a wedding photo, there's always like 3 normal ones, you know, with the puff sleeves and the sash. And there's always a great whopping one on the end. With the same material in a caftan. Now, I didn't know about this, like the world of the wedding and the bridesmaid, because I'd never been a bridesmaid till this year. Somebody asked me to be one. And I did look stupid, you know. I looked very inappropriate. I looked like a baboon in a baby groom. I just looked stupid. But I didn't care. You know, my friend Janet was getting married for the first time at 42. She'd fallen in love with Alan, the man from Dynarod. You know, she fell for him when he came and unblocked her toilet one-handed. This is what she told me. And they were getting married and, you know, buying a house, the whole thing. And on the morning of the wedding, she was in a complete panic, getting ready. She was going, something old, something new. I've got nothing borrowed, I've got nothing blue. I said, you've got a mortgage and varicose veins. Well, that... Well, she had 3 bridesmaids. She had me. I was like the oldest bridesmaid in England. She had Deirdre, the most neurotic bridesmaid in England, who was on tablets for something. and spent the whole day going, where's my handbag? There it is, it's all right. And then there was Rosemary, the most enormous bridesmaid in England. I mean, she had so much perfume on. 2 people down the end of the street were taken to hospital with breathing difficulties. So we're all gathered in a tiny flat trying to get changed. And Janet, who's not the most efficient woman in the world, she once booked a cruise on the QE2 the day it was diverted to the Falklands. So there wasn't much doing in the day, but the fireworks were fabulous. She's booked Dennis, the man from Pickford's Removals, to come and do the removal from her flat while we're all in there trying to get changed. So we're all stood there trying to get our dresses on. He's like toing and froing, you know, with a double bed under one arm and a cup of tea in the other, going, hey, do you bet me I can get this all the way from the bedroom to the van without chipping the skirting board? Where's my handbag? There it is, it's all right. But actually, Dennis was quite handy because he helped Rosemary get zipped up into her dress, which was a real struggle because they'd done all the arrangements for the dresses over the phone. And in the end, she was convicted of giving false measurements. And wasting dressmakers' time. So we helped get her zipped up into her dress. I get zipped up into mine. Deirdre, where's my handbag? There it is, into hers. Janet into hers. There's a bit of a problem with her veil. She looks like she's been mugged by a pair of net curtains. Then there's a slight hitch because the woman she's booked to come and do her hair can't come, sends her assistant Donna. Well, Donna's about 17 and a half. I think she's doing hairdressing as part of her community service. She turns up with like 2 Kirby grips and a rubber band going, yeah. And Janet says, well, what I'm aiming at is a very sophisticated Grace Kelly sort of a look. She goes, oh, all right. Starts wetting it with a damp cloth. Turns out she's thinking of Jean Kelly. In Singing in the Rain. And even when we dredged off with a hairdryer, she ends up looking more like Matthew Kelly than anything else. So we do that. Then suddenly, Janet has a panic attack. She's got to talk to Alan before she leaves for the church. So she phones him up. Well, of course, he's not there because he's had an old-fashioned stag night and he's in casualty. Having a traffic cone removed. So she phones him up. She leaves him a message on his answer phone. She goes, oh, my darling, I love you so much. Your body is a temple, one touch and an ecstasy. Well, of course, she's dialed the wrong number. And the boy from Perfect Pizza has ran straight away. Well, I get everybody organised. The plan is the bridesmaids are going to go ahead in a taxi. She's going to follow on in the limousine, so I get them all together. Rosemary's in the corner with a big bag of tortilla chips and a pot of guacamole dip. I can see from here it's actually avocado face cream from the Body Shop, but can't be bothered to say anything. So we get in the taxi. It's not a very nice taxi. It's been made out of 2 crashed cars welded together. The front half is a robin. The back end is a polo. It's been welded together and sprayed brown. It's actually a Rolo, I suppose. And so we set off. Taxi driver's not very nice. He's chain smoking and singing Little White Bull and gobbing into his cardigan pocket. So I tell him where the church is, and he says, oh, no, he knows a better way. He's not going into the town centre on a Saturday morning. He knows a better way round the outskirts. Well, I notice we've gone past World of Leather for the 3rd time. I start worrying, and then suddenly Deirdre goes, where's my handbag? Where's my handbag? I haven't got my handbag. I can't go to the church. I haven't got my handbag. I said, you've got to go. You're a bridesmaid. Oh, no, I can't go without my handbag. It's got my tablets in it. I said, but you've got to go. No, you're a bridesmaid. No, I can't. I can't go without my tablets. I might do something awful. I might run up and down the aisle naked, whistling the theme tune to Cagney and Lacey. I said, well, we'll get some more. I said, we'll go to Boots and get some more. She said, we can't. My prescription's in my handbag. My prescription's in my handbag. I said, well, I'll ask them for some. What do they look like? She said, well, the little round yellow things with Smith Beecham written on them. Of course, they won't give me any. I have to do the best I can with some Smarties and some lecture set and a standing on. So we get to the church, get out of the taxi, run up the steps, all laughing and panting and hitting each other with our Dorothy bags. And this usher comes towards us, and I say, look, I'm sorry we're a bit late. Is there somewhere we can sort of go and sort our underskirts out? And he gives me a funny look, and I realise, like, there's no music, you know, there's no bells ringing. And I look in the church, there's about 80 people in black overcoats all crying. And I think, and sort of a wooden box down the far end. And I think, no, this isn't a wedding. Or if it is, they're not very well suited. And out we come. Taxi's gone. Well, I don't know if you've ever had to catch a bus. On a Saturday, in the football season, with an 18-stone adolescent and a manic depressive, all wearing aquamarine taffeta, and bonnets. But there are nicer ways to travel, like being shot from a cannon in a string vest. Anyway, we get to the church and it's all marvellous, the service is lovely, all the men from Dinah Rod are all lined up outside, they come out under an archway of crossed sink plungers. I think, well, I'll go to the reception for a bit, you know, make sure everybody's all right. Deirdre gets her handbag back, Rosemary settles down by the buffet and waitresses form a human chain, you know, to keep us supplied with coronation chicken. So I think, well, I'll have a dance before I go, because there was a band. I say band, the Burt Mottershed Trio, of course. It had written on the bass drum, jazz, swing and loft insulation. So I'm having a dance, which is often a mistake at a wedding, isn't it? Because you often get stuck dancing with the man you least want to dance with, you know, the inebriated second cousin with the up and over hairdo. The one that's doing the twist to Una Paloma Blanca. So I'm stuck with one of these, very, very short, comes up to about here on me, totally drunk, shouting up dirty jokes at my bosom. I thought, wouldn't he be surprised if they shouted a few back? I think, well, I'll go, you know, I've done enough. And I see everybody's all right. Deirdre's had a few glasses of champagne, and she's staggering around with a cigarette lighter like this, trying to light a Lillet. Of course, the string caught fine, is a her eyebrow. Anyway, so I'm just going, and I see huge Rosemary coming out of the ladies, beaming, smiling, not eating anything. I've never seen her smile the whole day long. I said, what's the matter with you? She said, I'm in love. I said, who with? She said, Dennis. I said, well, who? She said, Dennis, the man from Pickford's Removals. I said, well, that was very sudden. She nobody likes big girls. She said, we've got a bet on. He reckons he can get me all the way from the van to the bedroom without chipping the skirting board.
Every slippery play, words not said, moves not made. 5 o'clock, the sky comes grey. Another wash, another day, just another life, it's true. But particularly yours, particularly you. If you have a dream, go with it. Feel the slightest hint, go with it. What is there to lose? Do you dare to choose? I have wasted years behaving in a way I thought was proper, and it's hard to do. No one cared, no one knew. Bus to work, paper shop. Will it alter? Will it stop? Take the time to feel. Is this for you? Is this for real? Horoscope, your new campaign. Oh, I'm not so bad, I can't complain, but you do feel bad somehow. Particularly here, particularly now. You can struggle on believing other people have the answers, even if they knew it couldn't help, wouldn't help you. You may feel there's more to follow, some eternal life, I don't feel that. All there is now. You can't choose when, you can't choose how. If you have a dream, go with it. Feel the slightest breeze, then follow. Follow all the way. Save yourself from just another day.
You know, I was just thinking about babies the other day, because I've been trying to get pregnant. Well, I was trying, and I didn't. And I went to the doctor, and I said, look, why am I not pregnant? You know, I said, I'm doing all the right things. You know, I've stopped drinking, I'm taking vitamins, and I'm putting a pillow under my bottom and all this. And he said, are you having sexual intercourse on a regular basis? I said, I can't do everything. And I was thinking, you know, I don't know if I want to do this all over again. I was thinking about antenatal classes, and I was just thinking how awful they were, you know, because, you know, antenatal classes are run by liars. Yeah, because when you have a baby for the first time, what you really need to know is, what is it going to be like? And they won't tell you. Like, I went to 6 antenatal classes, and just on the last class, somebody said, could you tell us what the labour's going to be like? And they went, oh, yes, the labour. And they got this little rubber dolly. and they got this balaclava helmet. And they pushed the little rubber dolly through the balaclava helmet. And they said, that's basically what labour's like. Oh, we all went, oh, well, that's all right then, you know. Be home by tea time, decorating the spare bedroom. Because when I came to do it, I remember thinking, well, it's not quite that simple, you know. I remember looking down at myself and thinking, no, there's a design fault here. This is nothing like a balaclava. There's no ribbing, for one thing. Because when you're in the middle of having a baby, it's a bit like watching two very inefficient removal men trying to get a very large sofa through a very small doorway. Only in this case, you can't say, oh, sod it, bring it through the French window. And also, 18 years later, the sofa doesn't turn around to you and say, I never asked to be put in the living room. But they are terrible liars at antenatal classes, because what you really need to know is how much is it going to hurt. And they won't tell you, because they just say, oh, it doesn't hurt. Having a baby, it's not painful, because that's not a pain, you see. That's a muscle contracting. It's not a pain. And you think, oh, yes. And Hamlet was written by two estate agents, I suppose. Or they will say, they say, if it gets a little bit uncomfortable, as you get into the delivery room, just ask for an epidural. They don't tell you that as you're wheeled into the delivery room, howling and screaming, and blaming your husband for everything from the start of the Second World War onwards. You glance down into the hospital car park, see a big coach leaving, balloon streamers, people waving big notice on the side, anaesthetist day out. And you say to the nurse, who looks about 14 and a half, can I have an epidural? And she goes, oh, not today. Think you can have one next Thursday? She said, no, I need one now. Can you give me an epidural? Not really. I've only ever done it on a grapefruit. Hang on, I'll ask Arthur. Arthur, have you got a minute? He's our boiler man, but he's ever so good with his hands. And they've got this obsession now. They want to show you the baby's head coming out, and they're always getting a mirror to try and show you. And it's just like being at the hairdressers when they show you the back of your head. And you feel obliged to go, oh, yes. And you're thinking, well, it looks terrible, but it'll be all right when I've run it under the cold tap. And another thing they never tell you about when you're having a baby, as the baby pops out the front, a hemorrhoid pops out the... Mine was massive. Weighed more than the baby. I phoned my mother up, knit 2 hats. So you're lying there, you think, well, that's all right. Had my baby, had my hemorrhoid. Then you have to have the stitches. And they come in with this great big needle, like something for mending lobster pots. So you go, that's all right. Had my baby, had my hemorrhoid, had my stitches. Then the milk comes in. Tons of it. It's like Marks and Spencer's before a bank holiday. And whatever size you were to start with, suddenly you've got like 2 nuclear warheads stuffed down your neck. I mean, if you sleep with them pointing towards Russia... you wake up, there's 2 women from Greenham Common sitting by the side of the bed. So you're lying there, you're crying, the baby's crying, your stitches are hurting, your hemorrhoids are throbbing, your bosoms have gone into overdrive, people are ducking past you as if you were a lawn sprinkler. It's at that point that a woman with a 14-inch waist comes in to tell you about contraception. And as she leaves, this woman, she always says something like, now don't forget your pelvic floor exercises. These are very important. You must do them. 50 little squeezes every day. Nobody will know you're doing them. Do them wherever you are, on the telephone, waiting for a bus. Just do them. If you ever see a woman at a bus stop, she's going like this. She's doing her pelvic floor exercises. Or she's just banged her hemorrhoids on a litter box. And another thing they never tell you is once you've had the baby and taken it home, you have to take it to the baby clinic. Now, the baby clinic is this terrible place full of mad new mothers who somehow managed to get themselves up, get themselves dressed, get the baby up, get the baby dressed, get the baby fed, get the baby changed, get the baby in the pram, find the front door. And these women have got like one bosom hanging out, bits of toast stuck to their head. The baby clinic is always run by two hatchet-faced old boots who left the Foreign Legion because it was too free and easy. They look like they castrate lambs for a hobby. And these women, these poor new mothers, you know, who used to be normal people, you know, used to have jobs and operate word processors and choose clothes because they liked them and not just because they were the colour of poo. Clinic for guidance and reassurance, because they're always panicking. You know, they're always bringing the babies and saying, "Now look, his eyes are awfully close together. Do you think it's his brain?" And these women go, "No, it's just ugly. It's probably awful." And another thing nobody ever tells you, or maybe they do tell you and you don't listen to them, is once you've got little children, you can't go anywhere nice. There's nowhere nice will have you, you know. You go to a nice hotel, nice restaurant, oh no, you can't come in with children. They're letting people in with Kalashnikov rifles, big bags of heroin. They can go, no children. If you've got children, you have to go to some horrible pub on a bypass. You know, big sign outside, children welcome. On the other side says Rottweilers welcome, but they don't care. They've got a family room. The family room is always the filthiest room in the pub, for the very low tables with very sharp corners. Space in the middle that they've cleared for cockfighting. So you think, all right, that's fine. We just won't go out. We just won't go out for the whole of the rest of our lives. In 40 years, we'll be in an old folks' home. They might take us on a coach trip to Morecambe. That's all right. The trouble is, the children want to go out. You know, once they've posted a peanut butter sandwich through the slot in the video and dialed a few wrong numbers in Bulawayo, they want to go out. Where are you going to take them? The park? I hate the park. The zoo? We all know about zoos now, don't we? We know being in captivity sends the animals balmy. You feel like you're pushing a buggy around a mental hospital. Except presumably a mental hospital would be cheaper because you could get out without buying a balloon and a chalk ice. And circuses are very dull nowadays, you know, because they don't have animal acts because that would be cruel and exploitative. They don't have lady acrobats in skimpy leotards because that would be sexist and degrading. They don't have clowns because that would be offensive to people with red noses and pour buckets of water down their trousers. I know because we went to Wilhelmina Smarts. Equal opportunities. Politically correct big top. The highlight of which was two women in pinafore dresses coming out. One said she was going to jump through a hoop, the other one said she didn't have to if she didn't feel up to it. And you can't go abroad with little children, can you? You think it's not worth spending all that money to fly to some exotic location to spend 2 weeks in the bedroom with the curtains shut singing The Wheels on the Bus Go Round. Did he not? Was he not? Could he not? Good night, everybody. Nice home treats to every person. Hi, are you new? Have you got any trainers? Well, just do the best you can with those. They're not ideal, stilettos. Connie, come away from the air conditioning. No, because when we go leaping and springing, you're going to give yourself a sort of mini lobotomy on the corner of that. You what, you've had one already? And you'd only go down for a support stocking. You should have said something. Okay, are we ready? Warm it up, march on the spot. Connie, both feet. Okay, well, I see we've got quite a few newies here today, so is there anything I should know about? Any bad backs, injuries, funny knees? Yes? Your leg? Yeah, what's wrong with it? It's plastic. No, that's fine. No, it's nice. That's as nicer than your other one. Oh. What I say to everybody is go at your own pace. If you can't do the legs, do the arms. If you can't do the arms, do the breathing. If you can't do the breathing, you don't deserve to live. Nobody kidding. I'm very wacky in my style. You get used to me. A bit more vigorous. Now, I'll just launch into my usual preamble, bear down with me if you've heard it before. I'm Madge, obviously. Oh, sorry, not obviously. I've usually got it written on, sorry. Got a new leotard on tonight. Do you like it? It's flattering, isn't it? I wasn't sure when I got it home. I thought, a bit subtle. OK. Connie, step into the left. No, to your left. No, to your left. No, because you're actually hurting her foot doing that. Where's the lady with the plastic leg? Can you stand next to Connie for me? OK, I'm Madge. Welcome to my Friday night low-impact class for fatties with attitude. Welcome to Fattitude. OK, let's funky it up a little bit. Come on. Because you can do any diet you like, girls. If you don't do those exercises, you are up that shopping centre without a credit card. And I know, I've been there. I used to have a weight problem. I was quite hippie at one point. Now put a bit of a kick into it, girls. Very gently, kick in the buttock. Give it a nice stretch through the front of the thigh there. Connie, kick your own buttock. And steady on down to a plie. Plie on down. Now what we're doing here, I'll just explain. No, you carry on. What we're doing here, we're working this muscle here. The gluteus maxillus. This is the biggest muscle in the entire body, and it's actually directly connected to the brain. So when we're working it, we're actually improving our circulation and our breathing and our ability to follow a knitting pattern. So, and punch. Punching across now, raising the heartbeat, getting ready to burn fat. Now, don't get me wrong, we're not all looking to be skinny. We don't all want to be Madonna, do we? No. Some of us want to be Petula Clark, don't we? And who else, yes? Michelle for 5 for 5 for 5 for 5 for 5. She's nice. Who? Kylie Minogue. No, I'm sorry. To me, Kylie is too much petito. There is a point with skinny where it can tip over onto scrawny. And I should know because I am dangerously near it myself. Raising the heartbeat now. Getting ready for that aerobics section. Now, don't back off from this, girls. Because when we do aerobics, we produce a hormone in the body called phenophonobarbimetamorphinol. And you can get hooked on this. Has anybody heard the expression, the joggers... Yeah, there's a jogger's nipple, the jogger's high. So, let's get high. What we're aiming to do in this section is raise the pulse rate to 80% of 150% of the resting pulse for 22 minutes. Now, please, don't attempt to compete with me. I'm a very experienced exerciser. And after so many years in aerobics, I am a superb physical specimen. I did run the London Marathon with a chicken on my head. On the other hand, I mean, we don't know whether all this is doing us any good. Connie, have you got those donuts? I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming and being such a nice audience, and I'd like to dedicate this song to the anxious, the insecure, because we live in an insecure world, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? Full of unanswered questions like, why are we here? Is there life after death? And most important of all, will Ken ever get back together with Deirdre? I'm terribly torn about being born. I mean, what is the whole thing about? Plop, out you come. Very near someone's bum. It can't have been properly thought out. It depends on one's sperm, knowing which way to squirm. In its version of swimming the channel, I'd have preferred to hatch out like a bird, or been grown on a piece of damp flannel. But just to arrive and be told you're alive, wait 10 years for a nice cup of tea, to be suddenly hurled right into the world
It all seems quite balmy to me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Isn't it a pity life was planned by a committee while the clever ones had popped out to the lab? This is my theory, though it isn't very cheery. Our existence is a harsh one. Try explaining to a Martian what a tricky conversation you would have, and I'm not dense. It makes no sense. We're only here 'cause an egg meets a sperm and then grows blobs on. Tell me there's more to it than that, I'll just go with knobs on. Ooh, ooh, ooh. One thing that gets me seething is all this bloody breathing. No sooner breathing out than breathing in, it's very tiring. And there's burping and perspiring. Another source of loathing is the need for wearing clothing. When some of us look better in our skin, and no matter how well built, we all look stupid in a kilt. If we didn't have hair, we could be brushless and be combless. If we were bald, our dandruff would be permanently homeless. Bum to the world, the whole thing stinks. I never asked to come. My reasoned, sane, thought-out response is bum, bum, bum. Another large misgiving is this urge to keep on living and the way we were designed to run on food, and this doesn't justify the individual fruit pie. And there's never any question of actual digestion till it's been divvied out and shoveled in and chewed. I'd be happy to invest in a little portable intestine. I hate meals out, or please wait here to be seated. Your food is being sprayed with germs, spat on and reheated. And the pinnacle, the steeple, is the hell of other people and the stupid things they have and say and do, like smoking cigarettes or videoing their pets. People with a pager, brats who voted for John Major, people with a gas-fired barbecue, women using thermoseters, or showing you photos of their fetus. And worst of all, and I'll only ever say this once, is any Brit with a house in bloody Provence. Up to the world I won't give in, I raise a cheery thumb, and on mature reflection I say bum, bum, a bum, ooh, ooh, ooh. Then of course there's dying. Well, they couldn't have been trying. Why not find a way to keep us all alive? There's heaven, I suppose, but no one really knows. No doubt heaven will be raining. Sorry, closed for staff retraining. Please come back in 1995. Please use the stairs. Pearly lift closed for repairs. When we get there, we'll be a mite depressed to find a Benetton, a little chef, and no doubt a bloody Nat West. Bum to the world, let's not be glum. Each bum can shine a light. And all that's left for me to say is thank you very much, good night. Freda and Barry sat one night. The sky was clear, the stars were bright, the wind was soft, the moon was up. Freda drained her cocoa cup. She licked her lips, she felt sublime. She switched off Gardner's Question Time. Barry cringed in fear and dread as Freda grabbed his tied hand. Let's do it, Let's do it while the mood is right. I'm feeling appealing, I've really got an appetite. I'm on fire with the desire, I could handle half the tenors in a male voice choir. Let's do it tonight. But he said, I can't do it, I don't believe in too much sex. This fashion for passion turns us into nervous wrecks. No derision, my decision, I'd rather watch the spinners on the television. I can't do it tonight. So she said, let's do it till our hearts go boom. Go native, creative, living in the living room. This folly is jolly, bend me over backwards on me hostess trolley. Let's do it tonight. But he said, I can't do it, my heavy breathing days have gone. I'm older, feel colder, it's other things that turn me on. I'm imploring, I'm boring, let me read this catalogue on vinyl flooring. I can't do it tonight. So she said, let's do it, have a crazy night of love. I'll strip bare, I'll just wear stilettos and an oven glove. Don't starve a girl of a palaver, dangle from the wardrobe in your balaclava. Let's do it tonight. I can't do it, I know I'd only get it wrong. Don't angle for me to dangle, my arms have never been that strong. Stop pouting, stop shouting, you know I pulled a muscle when I did that grouting. Can't do it tonight. Let's do it, share a night of wild romance. Frenetic, poetic, this could be a last big chance. To quote Milton, to eat Stilton, to roll and gay abandon on the top did Wilton. Let's do it tonight. I can't do it, I've got other little jobs on hand. Don't grouse around the house, I've got a busy evening planned. Stop nagging, I'm flagging, you know as well as I do that the pipes won't lagging. Can't do it tonight. Let's do it while I'm really in the mood. 3 cheers, it's years since I caught you even semi-nude. Get drastic, gymnastic, wear your baggy white fronts with the loose elastic. But let's do it tonight. I can't do it, I must refuse to get undressed. I feel silly, it's too chilly to go without me thermal vest. Don't use me, my mother sent a note to say you must excuse me. Can't do it tonight. Let's do it, I feel I absolutely must. I want to exempt you, want to tempt you, want to drive you mad with lust. No cautions, just contortions, smear an avocado on me lower portions. Let's do it tonight. I can't do it, it's really not my cup of tea. I'm harassed, embarrassed, wish you hadn't picked on me. No dramas, give me pajamas, the only girl I'm mad about is Judith Chalmers. Can't do it tonight. Let's do it, I really want to run amok. Let's wiggle, let's jiggle, let's really make the rafters rock. Be mighty, be flighty, come on, melt the buttons on me flame-proof nighty. Let's do it